Today I'm going to be taking some basic wood pieces and some scrap patterned paper along with some other embellishments and turning them into some fun Christmas projects. Hey, it's Beth, welcome. This is the 12 months of Christmas challenge that I'm doing for myself. It just helps. It's supposed to motivate me to work on Christmas projects throughout the year, like all throughout the year, rather than saving them up until like fall or, winter time. My hope was that it would help me get some inventory ready for our fall craft shows, or kind of help me get some things that I want to do for myself done before we get into the fall craft shows. So it's kind of twofold for me. My friend Kathy, who is Stampin' Cat over on Instagram, is also playing along with me, so you can check out the link below to see what she made. This month I'm doing something a little bit different. I have some wood pieces here, like this is just kind of more of a flat rectangle, and then I have some cube shaped pieces. We are going to be making some little mini presents. And then I have some small wooden discs that I think I got at Walmart. I don't remember, but they happen to fit perfectly with these little mini embroidery hoops that I picked up at Goodwill. It was like a pack of 10 for $3. And so it makes the perfect little ornament. I'm gonna create some ornaments with those. We're going to be using scrap paper for all the projects today. I do have some bows and other embellishments that I'll be bringing in, and then we may end up doing some other projects, but we will see. But I just thought I would kind of craft with you this time, kind of show you what I'm doing instead of it just being a project share. This will be a little bit more of a process video. So let's get into it. For project number 1, we're going to start off with one of the little cubes, and I just kind of painted up all of the corners with some white paint, just so that anything that might be seen around the edges of the paper will be white instead of plain wood. I'm measuring the block because all of these pieces of wood are different sizes, so I'm just measuring to make sure I know what I need to cut my scrap paper down to, and I'm going to cut scraps for all 6 sides. So these little cubes, we do have some unfinished ones available on our website, and these little presents are cute if you have a tiered tray. They're great like little tiered tray fillers, or if you have a tree, like a little Christmas tree that sits on a shelf, they look really cute. If you kind of bundle them around underneath the tree, it just looks like a Christmas tree, scene. I've also done some of these for Valentine's Day, like little Valentine's gifts that are cute in a tiered tray. So if this is something that you would like to try your hand at, like I said, we do have some available on our website. Sometimes you can find them at Dollar Tree, and I have seen larger ones at Hobby Lobby. So I will link ours down below if you're interested in that. And we are having a Black Friday sale if you are watching this at the end of November 2024. We're offering 20% off everything on our website. So once I get all of my paper pieces cut down, I just use some matte Mod Podge, and I didn't show it, but it's a giant bottle that we have. So I'm just using some matte Mod Podge and a foam brush. I'm applying Mod Podge to the wood and also to the back of the paper, and this acts as the glue. And then I'm using a little, it's kind of like a soft plastic burnishing tool to kind of work out any of the bubbles or wrinkles, make sure there's no air between the paper and the wood. And again, I'm going to go around and do that on all sides, and sometimes on the cubes, there'll be 2 sides of it that are larger and 2 that are wider and 2 that are skinnier, and for some reason I must have just got the paper a little bit wider, so I was trying to make sure I wasn't mixing up where the paper was supposed to go. So I'll finish off the sides, getting those all burnished down, and then I will do the same thing at the top. These are great little projects too. I love using scrap paper for them. I always have strips left whenever we make our decorative block sets for our craft shows. There's always like 2-inch strips left over from the pattern paper, and so these are great projects for me to use up that. And we always have scrap wood lying around to cut blocks with. So I'm going to finish up the top part here. If you are using directional paper, please make sure that all of your, that the paper's going in the correct direction, that it's facing up on all of your sides, or at least facing in the same direction on all of your sides. And then after I get all of the paper glued down, I'm going to use a coat of the Mod Podge to seal it. And I do 2 coats. I do the second coat off camera. And then because we sell these, I did use some clear matte polyacrylic sealer as well, just to make sure that they stay extra protected. I have this bag of bows that I got off of Amazon. It has tons of different colors in it, and they are perfect size for these little cubes. So since this cube is so small, I'm just doing one of the little bows. I'm adding some hot glue. Even though it does have a little sticky strip, I'm using hot glue to make sure it sticks. And project number 1 is complete. Next up, project number 2 is a mini rolling pin. This one I got off of Amazon. I think in total it might be 5 inches long. The base part is about 3 inches, 2.5 to 3 inches. And I did paint the handles red, and then I'm going to use paper to cover the middle of the rolling pin. Hobby Lobby has some that are bigger. Amazon has all sizes. This just happens to be what I have to work with right now. And I've trimmed the paper down to fit the middle of the rolling pin, and then I used my nail to mark where I'm going to cut, where I needed to cut, so that there's not excess when I wrap it around. And I'm going to use some more Mod Podge as the glue on the rolling pin and on the back of my paper. And then I'm going to kind of get it started, and then kind of get it situated so it goes end to end. It doesn't overlap the ends of the middle section there. And I'm going to get it started and then kind of wrap it around and then burnish it down a little bit, and then come back and add a little bit of the Mod Podge underneath the overlap there, just to make sure that that is going to stay down. Give it one more good. I'm a heavy burnisher. I probably over burnish. I'm just always, I guess, compulsive about making sure that there are no air bubbles. So now that that part is done, I am going to use some Mod Podge to seal it as well. And then again, after 2 coats of this, I am going to do a coat of clear polyacrylic as well. I do 2 coats, sorry. I always do 2 coats of each, the polyacrylic and the Mod Podge. And this, I used a bow to embellish it. I meant to just audition it off camera and ended up getting carried away and finishing it. So here for the third project, I am making my ornament. I did paint the back of my wooden circle here, and I believe these are around 3 inches. And I'm just tracing out the circle on some scrap pattern paper, and then I'm going to use my scissors to fussy cut out the circle. And I painted the back just because as an ornament you're going to see the back side as well as the front side depending on where it is on the tree. So I just wanted to make sure it was a nice finish. And I just went with some white wood grain paper here to act as the backdrop for I'm using a vinyl nativity scene that I cut. So again, coming in with the Mod Podge, and I'm going to add adding it to the wood and the paper. And the reason I add it to both surfaces is it helps eliminate some of the air bubbles, where if you only add it to one surface or the other, that tends to facilitate air. So I'm, again, so super conscious about trying to prevent air bubbles. So that's just one of the steps that I do to try and prevent any bubbling. And then again, burnish it down really well. Burnishing, burnishing, more burnishing. And then this is a little, I had cut this out of some scrap vinyl. It's just a little nativity, Mary Joseph, baby Jesus. And I'm using a little scrap of transfer tape to apply it to my circle. And I have not put Mod Podge on yet. I'm going to do that after I apply my vinyl. And because my transfer tape is like well used, I'm struggling to get it to stick. Finally get that backer off, and I'm going to adhere it to my circle. Using my little burnishing tool to kind of burnish that down. And now I'm going to put some Mod Podge on to seal the whole thing. So again, 2 coats of Mod Podge. And then I'm going to come in with that matte, the clear matte polyacrylic sealer. And I will link all of the products that I can down below in case you're interested in trying these. These are great, quick little projects that are great for gifts, for yourself. Especially if you're new to Mod Podging, these little projects are a great way to get started. So I'm just using some hot glue on the back of my embroidery hoop, and then am putting that down on top of the circle just to make sure that my nativity is centered. And I'm squeezing it really well, trying to make sure that it's not going to separate there, like that there's no space in between the circle and the frame. I have some little pieces of greenery that I cut off some larger pieces, and I'm just going to embellish the top of the hoop here. That side did not want to stick. And then I'm going to add another little layer. And I love how this ended up turning out. I think these are so cute. I'm so excited that I found those tiny embroidery hoops at Goodwill. I'll see if I can find some on Amazon. They're the perfect size to make these little ornaments, and it was a happy accident that they also matched the little wooden rounds that I had found, I think, at Walmart a long time ago. I've had them in my stash for a while. So I'm just using some twine that I looped through the metal clasp at the top of the hoop, and then tied it off in a knot so you can hang it on a tree. Bringing in some more of these bows. I got these off of Amazon as well. Trying to figure out which bow I prefer. I didn't love the red. I think it just stood out too much. So I opted to go with the black and white buffalo check. And then we'll hot glue that on, and this one will be done as well. Like I said, I think these turned out so cute, and I really want to find some more so I can make a bunch of them. Next up is the flatter block. We have these on our website as well. These just make a different shape and size of the little mini gifts, so they look good in your tier trays or under a little tree on a shelf as well. I have also made like little Valentine's envelopes with these. I'm thinking about trying to do some kind of letter to Santa piece that you could use in a tiered tray as well. And I also have an idea for a snowman, so we'll see how those pan out. But these are on our website, so I will include a link down below for this as well. I did paint the edges again so that, especially on the outer edges, I'm not putting paper on the sides since they're so small. I wanted to make sure that those weren't just plain wood. So, same steps as before. I'm going to burnish this down really well. And then we will flip it over and do the same thing on the back side. I love making these. They're just quick little fun projects. And I love that they use up some of my scrap paper, and we can sometimes use scrap wood if we have any lying around. So it's kind of a win-win. After I get it burnished down really well, come in with the 2 coats of Mod Podge to do the first seal. And the difference between the Mod Podge and the polyacrylic, if you're using it inside and you store it well, Mod Podge as the sealer will do just fine. Polyacrylic gives it just a little bit extra protection because Mod Podge is water-based. It can get tacky if it gets hot or wet. So the polyacrylic, it's not necessarily, like I said, because we sell it, it's just something else we do for added protection. So on this one, I'm bringing in some scrap ribbon. It's red with some snowflakes on it. And I'm going to do some ribbon like as if I were wrapping up a present and adding, like the ribbon in going both directions around the gift. But instead of using the one piece of ribbon, I'm going to do it separate because that way it will lay flatter on the bottom. And so I am just going to piece it together here and then glue it down. And then instead of a bow on this one, I decided I wanted to do something different. And so I remembered I had some poinsettias in my stash, and I'm going to bring those in and add one of those on top. I'm going to remove the foam adhesive on this one and add some hot glue just to make sure it stays in place. And I think this one turned out nice, bright, and festive. So we made this one together. Here were a few other tiny little presents I had made. Sometimes I turn them so that they're more horizontal and the bow is on top, and sometimes I just do them vertical with the bow on top. And these are so small, I don't tend to embellish them much more than just the bow. When they're a little bit bigger, like these, I will add some ribbon to. So this one, I just used some red ribbon and then a green bow from the bow pack. And then this one, I used some white ribbon and then a green ribbon bow. And I wanted to note that this I did get from Amazon, but you can also, around this time of the year, find these at Hobby Lobby. This is what I started with last year, but then when I ran out, Hobby Lobby didn't have them out anymore. So I went to Amazon, and you can find everything on Amazon. So, and then we finished that one. So these are more of like your, small cube type boxes, and these would be like your t-shirt boxes or something like that. That's kind of what they remind me of. And then I took a few of these in various sizes and created a little trio. These are glued together so it stands upright on its own. I saw something like this on a bigger scale at Hobby Lobby, and so wanted to just kind of try my hand on it. I wish I would have picked a pattern here, like maybe switched out these two. I don't know, I don't love the plain red right here. But, so this is something I will have to kind of play with, but I like the idea. It gives it a little more stability. It can stand on a shelf somewhere, be part of another little grouping. We have our little mini rolling pin. Now, this is tiny, so I didn't do a whole lot to it. Sometimes I have these bigger ones. It depends on what I can find. I think the size is kind of what Hobby Lobby has out. These were from Amazon. The bigger ones, sometimes I will put a word, like I'll put the paper on and then put a word and then maybe a bow or some other embellishment. But this is tiny enough. I probably could have gotten a little word on there, but I just decided to keep that one simple. I have these, which are some bigger blocks that were stained, and then used some scrap paper to die cut out some Christmas trees and just used Mod Podge to put those on. And then we made this ornament with the nativity. I have another one that's white, kind of a different scene on red. And then this one, which this is a like MDF piece that I had picked up at Michael's on clearance a long, long time ago, trying to figure out how I could use them. And so I finally found a use for it. I just glued it onto the center of the little round that I had covered with paper and then added my hoop frame on there. So those are my Christmas projects for this month. As you get a final look at everything, I just wanted to thank you for your time today, and I hope that you all have a very crafty day.